Welcome to Bump, the most candid, open and brutally honest show about motherhood, fatherhood and babies. Brought to you by my expert midwife, Bubble and Cyber Jammies. I'm joined by Daddy, Harry and Tom.
You nearly forget my name then. I'm joined by Danny.
Danny.
Is that his name?
I'm sweating. So boys,
Yes.
you are all daddies. Daddy of one, daddy of two, daddy of three.
Yeah.
Did you sit in that order on purpose?
No. Coincidence.
Well done. And I thought it'd be nice to talk to you about your kind of view on being daddies, how you've found it, whether you've struggled or whether you've found it easy. I think daddies get a bit of a, and now you're gonna keep telling me this now, but I think daddies get a bit of a tough ride because I think when you have a baby, it's very much all about mum, and I think dads are often forgotten. I think you were a little bit, and I think you maybe found it quite hard in the beginning, just adapting. And then I think you could have done with a bit of support in that adapting.
So we're looking for the man's perspective,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Okay, right.
I said it's kind of a weird situation that first couple of weeks because you don't really, you got this like you're adapting to a new human in the house, but you're like, and you're trying to have this connection, but it's kind of all directed with the mum really, and you're kind of just there to help out.
You said you felt like the waiter, can you remember?
I was a waiter, yeah. I was like, like Faulty Towers.
Yeah, I was like, are you alright, darling? You seem in a bad mood? No, I just feel like a waiter.
I was so kind of like besotted with Lola instantly that I just felt involved. I felt so connected to her. And interestingly, I had a different experience with Kit. I didn't feel as involved, and I had that kind of thing that Tom had talked to me about and Danny had talked about. So I think it might be a boy-girl thing. Because I was so kind of taken by having a girl. I was so taken. I was so immediately in love. I remember...
Did you think you would be?
I didn't know what to expect. I kind of maybe thought... It's a bit like your wedding. You think it's going to be a big build-up and it might be an anticlimax.
There is love there straight away though. I just find that it gets
The
better and more.
connection,
More.
Whereas-
Mine
yeah.
wasn't massive.
Well, I had that with Kit. I now completely in love with him.
Yeah.
Whereas at first... I loved him, but it wasn't connected
Didn't
to
like
him.
him.
I didn't really like him, you know. A lot of dads would say, they don't really do much, do they? And you just kind of hold them, they just cry. And I didn't feel that with Lola at all. I was fascinated by her. I just was amazed, and the whole. I just was always I was on cloud nine. But then with Kit, I was like, I see what men are talking about now. I didn't connect, and I was like, I don't know what to do. He's crying, and so yeah, I've had both perspectives. I remember you saying a similar thing with Buzz.
Yeah, I found it really hard. Like the first 6 months with Buzz.
Yeah, who's
I
your
found
first?
it really
baby?
difficult in our first, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but I thought I was really ready and knew what to expect, and it just really took me by surprise that there wasn't that like instant connection and like instant. Like I knew I loved him, but I constantly needed kind of reassurance that. He looked like me. I loved seeing pictures of me as a baby that looked like him. Be like, oh right, yeah, like
He is mine.
he's mine. And I needed that. There was this weird like.
Do you think it's...
in the background.
They're all mine.
They're all yours. All the kids are yours.
Imagine that'd be a story, wouldn't it?
And I think it just played on my mind that some people don't instantly connect with their kids, and then thinking, am I connecting with you?
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel it at all until. I think around 6 months, until you start getting the real smiles and the reactions and the laughs.
Like one of my main things is I didn't understand what was wrong with him, and I could normally like fix a TV or fix that or whatever, DIY van comes out.
You didn't get a screw out, did you?
Yeah.
You didn't get your tool bag out.
What's wrong with him? I'll go get my screwdriver. Yeah. But it's like that thing of like being able to
Make it all right.
and that's what the hardest thing I found was I couldn't make it all right.
I still do that now though. When Lola's crying, I'm like, Izzy, what's the matter with her? She's like, I don't know.
I just go like this. What are you saying? You want mum? Yeah.
Do you know what Danny did the other day? I was going out for the whole day, and Danny went, so, could you just write down like pointers? And I went, yeah, and I went like, what kind of pointers? And he was like,
His name.
Yeah, he went just kind of, what happens
How
during
do I
the
breastfeed?
day. I had to breastfeed. So if you could give new daddies one bit of advice, what would it be? Start with you, Tom. I'll start with you, Danny, because you look panicked.
What?
On the spot, go.
You know this like 15-second skip bit? Just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Keep it short and sweet,
Well,
darling.
Okay, this is what I'll say. There's no right way. Everyone's different, and just when they cry, give it back to mum.
To be honest, there's not much I feel like I wish I was told. It's more for me the shift in dynamic of like the relationship. Be ready for that between you and your partner. I think it taught me a new level of patience, having seen what Izzy went through with pregnancy, childbirth, and what a baby needs from their mum. So yeah, maybe be prepared for a kind of new level of patience, and just like Danny said, I can't remember how you put it, but for me it's like almost being, you said, you're like being a waiter. It's almost like being like a marathon support runner for me. Like you're just there with like water and like support.
Yeah.
Feels good to do all that though. It's a good role to play. It's just that you get shocked in that you're not doing it for the kid. You're doing it for the mum.
Yeah,
it's
and
like, how can I help with the kid?
Yeah, and don't feel like you said that those first few months we're not connected. If you are in that situation, like we've all been there, it gets incredible. It gets so magical, and I see you with Cooper now, and it just gets better and better. Like, I'm at a stage with Kit now where he's starting to communicate and understand things and pointing and laughing, and it's just walking. It's magic. It's so magical.
Yeah, be prepared for the focus to be on.
You've had your turn. It's Tom's turn.
I think Matt Willis gave me some good advice.
Yeah.
Or just said something that stayed with me. So it's not really my advice, I'm just passing on his.
Just go, Matt Willis.
He said it won't last. And so like when it's horrendous and it's really bad, and you're getting 2 hours of sleep a night and you're really stressed and work's on top of you, like it won't last. Like that will always end. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and it will all come around. But when it's amazing and you've got your sleep patterns in, they're all eating really well, and you're in a lovely routine, that won't last either.
So nothing will last.
It's constantly changing. Like you'll go through, the best times and the most testing times of your entire life. Like it is the best thing you'll ever do and the hardest thing you'll ever do. Jason Perry, so he's our producer. I remember when we were recording with him in like 2005, 2006. And it's always stayed with me, him saying it to me. He said some of the best moments of being a dad have been when you're exhausted. It's 3 a.m. and your kid's woken up, and he's picked up the baby and taken him downstairs so he doesn't wake up mum, and just had a cuddle downstairs. And they are amazing times. Like you're knackered and it's stressful, but the whole world is asleep. Yeah. It's just you and your baby, and you're exhausted, but you'll get that little smile, and you just think, actually, like you never get those moments back. And of course, it's a pain getting out of bed. You're knackered and your baby's crying. You have that moment of stress, and you think, I've got to be up in the morning.
Daddy's there going,
Never done it.
I'm actually thinking about, does the word parent, come from prepare?
Cool, mate. Anyway, so.
I've always struggled with the word, how to pronounce that word.
You can't say parent.
I can't say it.
Parent.
I can't say reward.
Harry,
I would say parent.
I heard someone on the radio say parent the other day.
Thank you.
It's like toothpick.
Toothpick, yeah. and
or tongue. You say tongue.
Room. I used to say room, but I now say room because Dougie always used to say this out of me.
Room.
He's in the room.
Anyway,
sorry, parenthood.
We're going off on
Prepare.
So do you not think that parent comes from prepare then?
No.
What I found hard about it, and I forgot to say this, is seeing you in pain. Is one of the, you're like,
yes, that's a good point.
Because you're like, ugh. But I think you go into autopilot of like, okay, everything's cool, and you've got to keep calm, even though you're panicking inside or you're freaking out about it all.
Yeah.
You automatically go, and then you pick up stuff that you've learned in whatever along the way. We did, what is it, NTC? NCT?
Antenatal classes.
NTC, TCP, we did all that.
QVC.
That's what
So we did QVC, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know, you go along, you have a laugh.
NTC, CPT, same thing.
Danny just liked the fact it was in a pub, so he got to have a pint whenever we went. That was your brand. And Harry,
yes.
So how was Izzy's 2 births? I know
so
it well. I've seen the video.
I'll give you the real version.
Do it, go on, Harry.
So it started off like, I'm having a contraction. Like that, and then it just gradually just went up a gear, everyone to the point of where it was changing gears.
Would you say it sounded like a cow moving?
A mixture of a cow and a car.
A cow and a car.
And
Cow in a guy.
a cow in the car.
A cow in the car!
But then she literally had that exact like 2-minute gap. So then she'd go from, anyway, what was I saying? It was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
weird that.
Yeah, and then she'd be like, oh, well, that was an intense one. Anyway, yeah, so when you start chatting, and then I'd be talking, and then suddenly, it was so funny.
Oh, you're not laughing.
I was.
Oh.
I was like,
And filming at the same time.
Filming?
Yeah.
she goes again. Childbirth's depicted in a certain way, like in films and media, of like rush to hospital, screaming, woman, like legs in the air,
That's
just
kinda
like, just like, oh my God, like screaming, sweat. Whereas, yes, it's like really intense, but it wasn't like that.
No.
It's not quite as like quick and like
No,
brutal, is
it's
it?
a long
No.
period, yeah.
It's quite brutal, but
And then
Beautifully brutal. That's what I say.
Yeah.
beautifully
And I didn't
brutal.
know how
Beautifully brutal, like a reward.
a lot of guys talk about that. Oh, did you look? Did you
look?
I looked, yeah.
Did
Because
you?
a lot of guys, I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't look, but I looked. I was like,
How did you feel about seeing it?
fine. Like
Fine.
I thought.
Did
It
you
was,
see the head coming out?
yeah, I was like, it's the most
I had a look.
incredible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like,
it's amazing.
because the midwife was like, look, there's your baby's, like, it's got hair. And I was like, oh
You're
God.
the first one to see that.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's got hair. Oh my
I
God.
remember you telling me Cooper had hair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's you didn't actually see him coming out, did you?
No, I went like that and I passed out.
Yeah.
But no, literally, this hair, I could see this hair. And I was just like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
my baby.
That's when it got real.
Yeah.
Real? That's when it got like, this
None
is
of us
like
knew the sex of our
emotional.
children, did we? None of us
No.
knew the sex.
No.
No. So again, it was like, oh my God, is it a boy? Is it
What
a
is
girl?
it?
It's
Yeah.
like so excited. And then this head popped out, and she was still kind of just like eyes closed, and then suddenly she like burst out crying, and it was just like the most euphoric moment. I experienced euphoria for the first time, like proper euphoria. Like it was
Yeah.
incredible, and like I remember her face so clearly, and I just was bawling my eyes out.
You cried. Did you
Oh,
cry?
I cried
Tom?
my eyes out. I was uncontrollable.
Yeah, I cried. Not with all of them though, and I experienced like the emotion hit me a little bit later on because you know like for that first it is amazing, but then I also had that feeling of like okay, the baby's here, is everything okay? Like is G
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is baby okay?
You're going
just
to
trying
protect him
Yeah, you're
mode.
just going to like quickly analysing. Okay, just don't get carried away. I just want
Yeah.
to check everything's all right
Yeah.
first.
Izzy looked to the
funny.
umbilical cord because I looked. I was like, I knew it was a girl, and Izzy was like, "It's a boy." And I was like,
Wow,
"No,
really?
it's a girl."
His umbilical cord, I couldn't tell what it was.
We couldn't tell what
First
it
of all,
was.
I was
Stupid.
I was crying, and then it came out, and it was like this red thing. That was like just covered in blood, going Wah! And I was going, "Ah!" And then the umbilical cord was covering his wiener, wasn't it?
Perfectly over his willy.
Yeah, and we were like, and you were going, "What is it?" And I went, "I don't know, not a clue." And then I hid in my tears because I was embarrassed. I was crying.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, I don't know why Danny would be embarrassed he was crying.
He's always
It's
crying.
No, but I was just like, I just thought,
Yeah, it's just overwhelming.
yeah, it's
isn't
just
it?
like it was. You don't know, it's just so overwhelming that it's all gone fine. You know.
I am, by the way, just that annoying dad. I don't know if you guys are. Who I've tried to tone it down a bit now, but particularly with Lola, like you know, when you talk about your children,
Oh, it's
I
all
can't
do,
help but
And
like
show pictures.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
showing pictures and just gushing over them. Just
Oh
like,
yeah, go to every meeting. They're like, "Oh, how are you?" I'm really tired. You know, just I've got 3 kids. Here, look, let me show you a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, and
They're
this,
really good
and
at it.
Kit's really like this, and Lola's more like that. Lola's more like her mum. But Kit's like me in this way.
Can
but
you see them glancing
Yeah.
over though?
Yeah, because
I know you're not listening.
I'm totally interested like your children, but like people I don't know, when they often show me, I'm like,
Yeah, I don't really care.
Do you want to see my kids though? This is really
Yeah.
interesting.
This is so much.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, they ask me about Cooper, like, "Oh, how's Cooper?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's fine. He's fine, he's all right." "Oh, let's get a picture then." And I'm like, "There he is, bum, flip through. You don't want to wear that anyway. What are you doing today?"
Oh, I bore.
Bum
Yeah,
and
nice,
dad,
there you go.
bum and
Yeah.
dad.
Oh, I am, but I know what I was like when I didn't have a kid. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm a dad
you
bore.
know,
No, it is important. Like it's important sharing. I love hearing about other dads and their experiences they've been through.
Yeah,
Yeah, it helps.
thanks. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
That is such a dad thing to do, isn't it?
Me and Judy did it. We went.
Which camera?
which camera?
Thanks so much for watching Bump. If you want to watch the playlist, then click here. And if you want to watch last week's episode, then click here.